Bam!
And we're in.
All right, welcome back to the Keep Your Day Job podcast.
Yeah.
Working title, whatever the hell it is.
Keep your day job.
Keep your day job.
Now that the intern's not here after his hard work doing that graphic of a guy with a painting rolling or something for working title. What's that guy's name again?
Anupam.
Yep.
Good dude.
Yep.
We're going to miss him.
Farewell, Anupam. You've changed my life when you were here.
Yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him.
We've had some interns at Wake Up Tucson. Yeah. We had a weather intern, which is great. So my buddy Joe Higgins had someone who worked at some medical clinic he was managing, and she's like, "Oh, my son is teaching. He's learning meteorology at Creighton in Nebraska."
Yeah.
And what do you think? And so all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, Chris, I have us a weather intern." Well, the problem was it was like summer, and he's like, "Oh, you come in, it's going to be 104 today and 104 tomorrow." Yeah. You know what I mean?
And 104 through October.
Yeah, it was like a really boring monsoon season also. So,
speaking of which, the weather Armageddon that was supposed to happen yesterday was pretty paltry, wasn't it?
Hey, can I chime in on this?
Yeah, jump in.
So I honestly, I did see like local weather people getting angry and like frustrated with Kevin from the Arizona weather farce. Yeah. So.
Oh, did you say weather farce?
Oh, did I?
Yes,
I meant
you
force.
did.
Weather force. Sorry, my bad.
Pretty close.
Hey, when I came on a podcast not too long ago and I was like, hey, it's another place to go check out like weather, and I meant it as like a parody. Like it's supposed to be funny.
No, you didn't. You got taken in by him. That's what I think.
He drew a penis on the radar last night, guys. Come on. I've been seeing this behavior for years. And it's like people have taken it.
I don't know, Dave. I think you bought into it. I think you're the guy that, when the stripper smiles at you and you put a 20 in her garter, you're like, she wants to date me.
Oh, my gosh. Well, anyways, I want to take
you convinced
responsibility.
my wife the guy was the guy, though.
I want to take responsibility for promoting that source. I'm so sorry. Hey,
Tammy,
you know
are
what?
you listening?
The world's
Stop
okay.
it.
The world's okay. But, I saw some legit meteorologists like trying to counter his misinformation and stuff.
So my thing about weather and these weather forecasters, okay, anything out, especially in monsoon season, they know nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You just say 30% chance of thunderstorms.
Something's going to happen somewhere.
That's where we're at. So, but people, for some reason, the weather force guy, that whole thing connected with the psychology of social media, right?
Right.
I'd never seen so many people share that crap in my life. Where I'd be like, "Oh, watch out! Tomorrow, 2:00, tornado's gonna blow you away."
Yeah.
Right? And I was sitting on the back patio with a beer and the dog yesterday, going, "This is the most beautiful 70-degree weather possible."
Yeah.
I was like,
Great.
"Good job, weather force guy. Keep predicting tornadoes. I like this."
Isn't that amazing how many people were talking about that over the last, say, 48 hours?
I'll tell you.
Well, he won a lot of people over with some of his forecasts were pretty spot on. Like the first really bad wind event, he predicted that about 2 weeks out. So I think people saw that and were like, "Oh, this is our new." Plus, the media isn't doing a good job of holding people's trust. So
that's the best part is the people who work for these mainstream media outlets, the local TV people, and they do some good stuff because the only thing they do good is because it leads usually.
Yeah.
Right. Valerie Cavazzo still does real news stuff on KOLD. Chorus Nylander, the Gentle Giant on 4, does some good stuff. But overall, so the idea that, check this out, meteorologists. Okay, now TV, they're not meteorologists either. They're TV weather people. There is some of them went to a meteorology school, but other than that, they're just reading reports from National Weather Service.
Our friend Stephanie Waldrop has a serious degree in meteorology.
Well,
she
that's
could
what I'm
explain
saying.
it herself.
Right. But the people
she's
who
my go-to, honestly.
Yeah,
but the people who just read the weather and they say they're a weather person getting pissed off at Weather Force?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, that was real. Phoenix, everybody was, like, "Hey, this is what's really going on."
Don't step on my 23% thing. This may happen.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hey, can I jump in here real quick? Because this is, I need to know an answer. I need to pick you guys' brain. There's always a catchphrase, a buzzword, a buzz phrase that circulates.
Yes.
When did they are keeping their receipts or some form of that become a thing? Because I hear everybody saying it now.
To me, it always sounds like, the internet never forgets.
Like tax purposes?
No. They're keeping their receipts. In other words, I think maybe my generation would refer to it. They never forget. They've got a long memory. They're, but they're keeping. It's
so
almost
nobody's had Alzheimer's before.
Yeah.
Well, so
No.
what I see it
have
in,
you heard it?
Sure.
Because I'm hearing it all over the place. He kept his receipts. In other words, he's going to get even at some point, or he's going to cash in at some
To
point.
me,
Is my
keeping the
take on it.
receipts for me is, and we do it on Wake Up, right? I have the gift or curse of remembering everything.
I mean, yeah.
And so what happens is I can take something that Pima County did right now and say, oh, they did that 3 years ago, 7 years ago, 11 years ago.
And they did it in 1982
right?
as well.
This is nothing new.
Yeah.
So that's my keeping of receipts.
So are you the family historian in your family? Because I'm the go-to in mine. When did that happen, Clint?
I'm the
August
guy.
8th, 2000,
that's
4 at 3:30 in the afternoon. The weather was calm, although
me.
there was a 22% chance of rain.
I'd be like, I remember we all went out for that seafood restaurant, and the three of you got lobster,
Yeah.
but I got crab for my birthday. Remember that in 1982?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there wasn't
that's my
enough
thing.
butter with the crab, so,
Drawn butter.
yeah.
That's what they called melted butter. They said
Drawn butter.
I don't know. Yes, sir.
Chris, you still have you have a returning listener on Instagram that wanted to let you know that Jenny is still.
She's one of them.
Yes.
Ladies
I
of the
can't
night.
believe.
And he said that trust weathermen like congressmen. Or they did, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too. I always love the extended forecast.
Yeah.
They're going to tell me 10 days from now.
2 months. What about Farmer's Almanac? We're going to tell you what's going to happen all winter next year. Come on.
I think the Farmer's Almanac at least is, just kind of, it's tongue in cheek, right? Kind of thing. And it's a conversation thing.
Yeah.
But I just love
Coldest winter in history coming.
Well, even so, and again, the heat's become a political thing, right? Because when it was summer and it's hot, and we had that first blast in June, and everyone's like, "Oh God," and it was like every damn thing was heat, hot, right? And we're like, "Well, it's summer."
So
right, it's a week before the first day of summer in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, what do you got?
Right. Well, you know something. Since all that happened,
so let me ask you a question. You've been in this game a long time. When did climate change become a talking point? Is that around 2000? Am I kind of in the ballpark there with Al Gore and stuff like that?
It's definitely Al Gore. We were having this discussion on.
I'm not asking that to like run off on climate control because I want to throw something in here.
So I'll just tell you real quick. For us, we had a discussion this morning on Wake Up Tucson that we were doing music of presidential election years. Mm-hmm. Right. So we did 92 today. All right. We started in 60. Now we're in 92.
Okay. What did we do in 92?
It's crap. Yeah. And so we're not doing, trust me, we're not doing 96.
Yeah.
Okay. When the high part of the art form is Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus, now we know we're treading. And Baby Got Back, of course, was the first one we played.
Have you seen pictures of Billy Ray Cyrus recently?
Sir. I didn't know he was still alive.
Oh, my gosh. What is going on
He raised a nice daughter, though.
What is going on? Oh, my gosh.
So what happened was the question came up about when did the big split politically happen that everything has to be one side versus the other. Okay, and we came back to Clinton.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right, the idea that the media was so in love with Bill Clinton that even whatever he did to Monica Lewinsky couldn't have. Why are we making a big deal out of it? Right. So Al Gore being the successor to Clinton, and then you had Hanging Chads, which then split the country again.
Can you believe that's a quarter of a century ago?
Yep. All right. So we had Hanging Chads in the election in Florida, and so this was Al's thing.
Yeah.
Right. So Al must be right because he comes from that Clinton thing.
Yeah.
Right. And in the end, he made millions of dollars on the climate. Yeah. My thing is, you should always be sensitive of what's going on to affect your climate and the environment.
Well, 2 points.
But look, can we just use real statistics?
Exactly. That's my thing.
And I always love when they say, "Oh, if you look at the temperature of the polar ice caps," and they literally go back to like 5,000 years ago. I'm like, did you guys go back in a time machine?
Yeah. How'd you? Yeah, that's a question I always.
And they use the magic word extrapolate.
Yeah. That's me too.
So
I remember being here in 80. What was it? 88 when it was 124 in Casa Grande. I remember that. So that was long before we knew climate change existed.
Well, there's some new things.
To me personally, we're first off, I don't want to be preached to by someone that just got off a private plane that is burning.
Well, that's part of the truth, too.
I don't want to. Come on, but and I'm going to go on through the lens of other people that I have seen. My mother went to China a few years ago with my sister, and she said, "Yeah, we're never going to win this climate control thing or whatever it is." I consider we're destroying Mother Nature, and we are doing that. That's for sure. But she said you can't imagine the way it is in China and some of these third world countries she's visited. You know, the main streets are westernized to make sure, you know, that's where all the photo. But driving down the road from point A to point B, she goes, Clint, you can't believe the pollution and the polluting of the air and water and
she's
resources.
Right. She's totally right.
It's insane. We could go and be perfect in the Western world, be perfect at what we do. We'll never be there, but we'll never win the battle when 2/3 of the continent, 2/3 of the globe is still just they don't give a crap.
So I encourage everyone to go on the YouTube machine and watch a guy named Konstantin Kisin. He's in England. He's originally family's from Russia, Ukraine, and he has a great podcast called Trigonometry. Okay. But he was at the Oxford Union at Oxford University doing this debate thing about climate change. And he has this great rant about how until you convince the third world or so he talks about India. Mm-hmm. India and China don't give a crap about any of this. No. Right? And so countries like that that don't care, they're 90% of the problem.
Exactly.
Right? And so until that happens, you're just tilting at windmills. So the thing that I love about people who are climate change, and this is where they get into a little contradiction with themselves.
Hey, I'm keeping receipts on all this conversation.
Thank you. By the way. I also like the new one. I like Let It Cook. That's my new one. Let It Cook.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, we'll talk about it. And so if you're usually someone who is a huge climate change proponent, okay, you would be someone who would say that you have the scientific, the planet's been around for tens of millions of years, okay? Because if you are someone of faith and you're going biblically and you say it's only 6,000 years or whatever, then of course you're a fool, right? You're a superstitious jackass for doing such things, okay? Those people, when we talk about climate change, keep forgetting that they're supposed to believe the Earth's been around for 10 million years. Mm-hmm. Right? Because what happens is they say, the last 10 to 15, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, if the planet's tens of millions of years old, 10 to 15 years is a blip.
It's not even a blip. It's a blip of a blip of a blip.
Right? So
Come on.
They got to figure out one way or the other on this.
You know what I would like to...
I like sensitivity for the planet. You're supposed to take care of God's creation.
Absolutely. I would like to see it renamed, repackaged, and let's talk about what did you just say. I think that's a good way. Sensitivity to the planet. Absolutely. Let's not pollute it.
So remember, it was global warming, and then when that didn't play out, it became climate change.
Remember. You may be a little bit too young to remember this, but I remember. Basically, it was a Native American. With a tear in his eye because people were littering.
Iron Eyes Cody.
Yeah.
I remember.
There you go. Okay. And that was effective, I think. I deplore litter bugs. I mean, it's just like, are you kidding me? There's a trash can somewhere. Put it in your pocket if you can't find a trash can.
Well.
Until you find a trash can. And yet there are...
That's how your mama and your papa raised you.
Matter of fact, I don't want to get... Well, it is. Hey, you know what? I don't want to get all Debbie Downer here right now. We need a male version of that, Donald Downer. But David and Anupam and I went out for lunch yesterday to wish him the best and thank him for him. We had a great meal. Name the Greek restaurant, David. I butchered it.
Papoulis.
Yeah.
Papoulis. You know what? Maybe the best gyro I've ever had yesterday, there or anywhere else. It just seemed like everything was on point.
Nice.
And a big pile of meat right in the middle of all of that. So, but over behind where they're building this beautiful new
uptown,
and I think it's going to be okay. They're building, I guess, hotels right now or apartments or something there. Looks like it's going to be kind of high end. I don't know if you've been around to the back.
No.
But go around the back and look about where you get past the Walmart shop where they do the oil change.
Yes.
Maybe
homeless camp.
Yeah. Like you can't down in a wash with a big. I mean that drain pipe has got to be.
So do your research a little bit.
10 foot.
That homeless camp started a fire, a
Yes.
brush fire in there, and it almost if that was like the closest where if that started just lighting the neighborhood on fire.
Yeah, and
'cause
there's
of
a
that
lot of property
tomfoolery.
there.
Oh yeah,
Are we going to build just a wall? Is that what our plan is?
on either side.
Yeah,
Must
like
be
put them in a
trapped
little
there.
camp.
My big thing that I've had a real problem with is local businesses, especially some of the big box stores, not anchoring down some of their sheds they have in the parking lot. That has
beautiful.
been something that
Beautiful. Those are acts of God, by the way.
I had a friend of mine, him and his wife were driving. This thing came out of nowhere. It was like Wizard of Oz Part 3.
Hey, do you know what you get when you call Lowe's corporate? You get a what's the word I'm looking? Yeah, crickets. That's what you get. You get a call center in the Carolinas. You don't get corporate. They don't let you anywhere near corporate. You're getting a call center.
Sure.
That's just fielding calls. So yeah, those people are such nice people too, and they were attacked by a flying she shed on Ina Road.
Way to identify it.
Does the shed have XY chromosomes?
Hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to my good buddy Jordan Edson. I can't think of her new. She's married. She's in Italy right now. She's sending travel logs back all the time. Every day.
Beautiful.
She's a sweet lady. I'll give her a shout out right now. She's the one that actually referred to it as a she shed, and of course it was.
Clint's talked about it on 14 other podcasts on the LTD media. But him and his bride were attacked by a flying she shed on Ina Road.
My wife talked to at least 4 or 5 people. Not one person said, "Are you guys okay? We're so sorry that happened." It was sue us. So,
Bring it on, Daddy.
yeah. And you know what? I know my good friends that went on and said, "Clint, just turn that into your insurance. I know you mean well, but stop it." I'll just pick that one up myself because what's going to happen, Chris, if I do turn that in. And I don't know Jason, my buddy Jason down at Furrier's is going to come check it out today, see what it's going to really cost me. And if it's more than what I think it is, maybe I will. Don't you understand how I'm well-intentioned, turn it into your insurance? Don't you guys understand how this game works?
Yep. You just wanted to anchor it down.
That's all I wanted to do.
I know.
Because once I turn it into my insurance, there goes the little check mark.
Well,
Clint doesn't know what he's doing over there. My rates have never gone down.
So the question is, if I went back to that Lowe's right now, are there sheds in the parking lot now?
There are sheds in the parking lot right now.
Are they
There's
anchored
3
down?
of them, and none of them are anchored. And that actually is a state statute. I did look it up.
So I'm telling you, man, I got you all fired up again.
Yeah. You know
The
what?
she shed.
It's not. Honestly, it's not the she shed, and it's not. It's the response of
course.
corporate
It's always-
America.
everything's about the
It's
response.
got nothing to do. I mean, honestly, if you looked at the damage, have you seen it?
It's always about
It's
the
not
response.
much.
So look at this. I don't know if you heard this story, right? Somewhere in Arizona, there was a state senator, and she was driving 71 and a 35.
Headed home, where she doesn't live, by the way.
We don't know where she lives. Okay. And what happened was she only had 4 miles left on her Tesla, so what she decided to go is go double the speed limit.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it doesn't work that way.
On a busy street, speedway.
Near the U of A,
Yeah.
a school in a
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. And all she had to do was say, "I'm sorry, how much does this cost?"
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
said, "I'm a state senator," and blah blah blah. And then when it finally came out, it's the police officer's fault. Just pay, and she might have won her election. She might have because it hurt.
She probably did. She probably would have.
There were 3 contributing factors who were lost, but that was one of them.
Certainly the big one.
Yeah,
It was certainly the big one.
just so Justine Lowe's. Just
can we agree on
respond
this?
well.
Can we agree on this, David? I'm including you in this. We're all human. We make mistakes. We're but just own them when you do them. And quite frankly, I'm going to own it. Hopefully, before you even discover I made a
America
mistake.
is, even to this day, with the division of what goes on out there, still a pretty forgiving nation. Just look into the
Absolutely.
camera and say, "Look,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Even if you meant to do it, you can get away with that. Yeah, it was bad thinking on my part.
If you're in a high profile thing, say I'm gonna make a donation of $1,000 to the Police Protective League or something like that.
Yeah.
And I apologize.
Now don't keep pulling a Jimmy Swaggart and keep showing up with hookers and chinos.
I have sinned.
Once you've confessed your sin, kind of stop it.
Jesus said, "Go forth and sin no more."
Yeah.
Why do you guys feel that that's just such a hard thing for people to do these days? Is just take accountability.
I don't know.
I see it all. I see it all the time. Is this a constructive?
Because their mama and their daddy didn't
yeah.
expect them to take accountability.
Going back to that Anupam, we were talking to him in the car, and he was talking about how that side of the world looks at the United States, and he said one of the scary statistics they see when they're like studying the United States is the divorce rate and the breakdown of family. He said it's really, really bad here compared to their country and others.
And again, that's a 1960s thing. Maybe 70s is when it became.
So is that your crew, the 60s?
Okay, a news flash. I have been told my entire life that I was a baby boomer. I was born in 1958.
And you've ruined America.
And I've ruined America. And I discovered a couple of days ago, I'll get the source the next time we bring this up, I am actually what is referred to as Generation Jones. And it's 1954 to 1969. Keep in mind, baby boomers went back to 46? Is that right? I think it started in 46.
Let's see what we got here. The generation or social cohort between baby boomer and Generation X.
Yeah. And that's you, right? You're Gen X?
Yes. Yes,
and
absolutely.
That little buffer in between is now referred to as Generation Jones, right?
Yeah, it's 54 to 65.
65.
And it's basically the generation that is actually part of the baby boomer generation, but wants no part of their tomfoolery.
Beautiful. That's me. I'm a Joneser, baby. So. Come on. I never heard that before until last night or the night before. You know, can I jump on something that you and I have talked about a bunch?
If I say no, what would happen?
I have nothing, because I'm going to talk about reading. I'm going to go. Reading. Reading is fundamental. Remember those commercials?
Absolutely.
We played them. We played them over and over.
The great Ed Asner.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the other one? School Book. What was the thing? There was a little commercial that came out. School Book.
There's Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Right.
It was a big deal. I don't see any of that anymore. Do you, by the way? I don't see any. Of course, I don't watch TV, so regular TV. So maybe it's there and I'm just missing it. Hey, people, I'm a reader. I was just thinking today. I bet you, on average, I read 20 to 30 hours a week. I love reading.
Love it.
And you know what I heard Charlie Munger say one time? He's the recently deceased Charlie Munger, partner cohort with Warren Buffett. He says, I don't know any successful people that don't read a lot. Any. He emphasized that. I don't know any successful people.
So knowledge is power is a real thing.
Applied knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Applied knowledge is power, because power setting neutral is not doing you much good.
I'm with you. I won't fight you on that.
Yeah, and that's a Kennedy thing. That was part of his inaugural address in January of 1961.
I want to get back to young David and the meat locker there about marriage.
Yep.
So there is, I call it there's a vicious cycle of marriage, I call it. This is coming from a guy who's happily married for 29 years. She has great patience. But so there's divorced parents begat divorce. I'm sure there's a higher divorce rate for their kids to get divorced one day too, right? There's part of the upbringing, but I call it the vicious cycle, which is and now it's even weirder now because of social using apps for dating. That's a whole other aspect of this. But there's that part where you're dating, right? And you're dating for at least a year, and then it usually I'll be yelled at this. Usually comes from the female side of the equation that and maybe from their friends or family. Is this guy going to propose to you? Mm-hmm. Is he going to put a ring on that?
Or when is he going to propose?
Right?
Hey,
When
come
is he?
on.
Right?
Come on.
Crap or get off the pot.
Yeah.
All those wonderful sayings.
Free
right?
milk, cow, the whole.
And so when you get engaged, it's an amazing experience, right? It's beautiful. You got the restaurant, the violins, all that jazz. The South African blood diamond guys convince you that it's 2 months of your salary to get a ring, right? I mean the diamond. I mean blood diamond guys, and so you do all that, and then what are you doing? You are planning a party.
Yep.
Okay. And so one of the things, if you talk to anyone who's going to get into some sort of lifetime vocation that you're supposed to, that's not marriage, there's anything else, and you're going to make a lifetime decision, right? They call that, there's this big word called discernment. Well, we should be using the engagement period to discern whether or not we would like to be married to this person the rest of our lives. And we don't do that. What we do is we plan a party.
Yeah.
Right, we're meeting with the caterer. We're sitting with Clint and Tammy about what hors d'oeuvres we should have at the right, or where are we honeymooning, or all of these things, and that's what we're working on, right? And so I just want to say one thing, and I'll let you go, Clint. So I talked to my dad when I was going to get engaged to my wife, and I said, "Hey, I want to get whatever," and he said a couple of things. He goes, "Is she your best friend on the planet? Can you tell me she's your best friend on the planet?" He's like, "I love her, but you got to tell me, is she your best friend on the planet?" Right? Number 2, in your mind, can you share your money with her? Okay. Number 3, can you live with her family the rest of your life?
That's a good one.
Right? And do you want to make love to this woman for the next 50 years? That was my dad's 4 hard questions.
What year
for
was
me.
your dad born?
My dad's 38.
Okay, my dad was 26. He basically said the same thing. He basically said, he didn't say it in those exact words, but because I asked him, that was one of the few times, and as a young person, and I was actually in my 30s when I met Tammy.
Right.
How'd you know Mom was the one? Right?
Right.
And my mom was 17. So she was still a kid at that time. He was in his early 20s.
Jerry Lee Lewis showed us the way.
Right. But he said basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I knew that this was someone.
Not getting asked during this time.
I want to. Now, I agree with everything you just said, but here I want to throw this at you. Again, our parents, your parents, my parents, they married young a lot of times.
Yep.
There was no long engagement. You just found somebody you thought you loved and you wanted to, and yet most of them survived. I remember a great line from, I believe it was Dan Rather that wrote The Greatest Generation. Brokaw, yeah. Tom. He wrote, and I remember he also had a video that accompanied that, if I remember correctly. And he was interviewing all these people that were born our parents' age, or our generation, 20s, 30s.
Actually, it's
40s.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the greatest generation is the ones that fought World War II. That's definitely your dad.
Yeah, my dad's age. So they were talking, and I remember this old couple. I can't see him, but it was almost like when Harry Met Sally, kind of like, remember when they had
the
all
orgasm scene?
No, no, when they had all the couples at the end.
We said horror and orgasm.
They were talking, let's make sure we work it in. But they said,
Dave, we're filling in the bingo card.
Tom Brokaw looked at him and said, "Hey, was divorce ever an option?" And she looked right in the camera and she said, "Divorce was never an option. Murder was."
Thank you.
Okay. So my question is, I don't think the length of time, it's important. There's no doubt about it. We do 4 years in college to hopefully train for something we can do the rest of our lives. But is that your best friend?
Well, so,
I mean, literally, is that? There was a time, Chris, that I didn't have very many friends by choice in my 30s.
Yeah.
By choice. I was too busy. I discovered friends. I've told you guys that they want to borrow money, cry on your shoulder, and I want you to help them move.
I've seen a lot.
That's your problem.
I've seen a lot of people in my
yeah, none of those are
folks.
Yeah, go, David.
Sorry about that. I've seen a lot of people in my generation. It falls apart a lot when the kids get involved.
Well, that's a tough time. You're starting to raise children. I'm not implying that you're.
It's not. It's not. I mean,
David's nailing part of this.
You lose some sleep and you gotta be there.
Not yet,
You know
though,
what I
David.
mean?
Your kids aren't in school. They're not hanging out with their peers.
Okay,
That's
well, I
when
would
the
say
parenting starts.
that's what I'm seeing with my generation is like it's early. It's not in the school stage that I see things falling apart. I see it when they first have these kids, and the next thing I know, I'm seeing that they're single on Facebook or.
So
you know.
there, I think there's 2 stress points here. Okay.
Okay.
One, and you're right. So as part of my vicious cycle of marriage discussion I was giving with you guys, is you get married, right? And now what happens is now we have sex without guilt. Right? And you're rocking and rolling. Any room, any piece of furniture, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? And what happens is sooner or later, mama's going to get pregnant. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that, and having children is amazing.
Yes.
Best
Amazing.
gig on the planet.
But I'm going to tell you something. So when we had our first child, I knew as the father of this child that I had to make sure that my wife was beautifully taken care of. Right? Doctor's appointments, well fed, well hydrated, everything. Right? But I do remember when our
Concessions were made.
right. But what happens is that I remember going to St. Joe's Hospital where our son was born. And I just remember, we got contractions and blah, blah, blah. But I remember the nurse at St. Joe's handing me a stack of paper that I had to sign off on while my wife was at 10 minutes between contractions. And the flood of responsibility overwhelmed me, right? Because now this crap just got
becoming
real,
yeah.
right? Now you're going to have a whole other life dependent on you, okay? And that's a wave. It's great. Yeah, everyone always says, the birth of my child, one of the and it is.
Yeah.
Right? You're holding him. Oh, it's amazing, right? The glow of this event. But there's a responsibility. And David, back to what you're saying is that when you have a couple that got married, like I just said, they dated for a while. Then it was just expected they should get married because they've been dating for a year or two, right? Then they get married, they have the party, and that what happened is the bonds are not as strong as they thought because they're getting married for all the wrong reasons. Right? And then you throw the responsibility of a beautiful little 1 to 3 year old in your life, or 2 of them at that point, right? Then you take the stress of that child plus whatever else is going on a couple that's should have been married in the first place. Then I have divorce and I have 2 kids awash in crap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other part, of course, is this is turning into the wedding show, the marriage show.
It's great.
Then you see divorces when the kids move out.
Yeah.
All right. Because what the kids were keeping them together.
Yeah.
Right.
They say it.
Stay together for the kids.
Stay together for the kid, which is honorable. That's a good thing.
Blink 182 song, by the way.
But if you're what's happening is they stopped working on the relationship. Right? That's my take on this. They stopped working on the relationship because to me, yes, my beautiful wife is my wife or the mother of my children. But you know what she always is to this day? She's my girlfriend.
Yeah. I refer to Tammy as my girlfriend still to this day.
Right? I have that
my bride
attitude.
Occasionally.
Right? She's my wife and my girlfriend.
Yeah, and best friend.
Right? And so it's kind of the fact that if you're not developing stuff that you're doing together outside of the kids, you will find yourself awash on 2 little separate islands going, why are we here again?
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost living with a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, Tammy and I were blessed. When I met Tammy, I was a heavy haul truck driver.
What was I never asked you this. What was your CB name? What was your
A hard drive.
Nighthawk.
Hard drive. For 2 reasons.
David, we're never calling him Clint again.
I was a
What was
computer
it? The hard
drive.
Hard drive.
I was a
Hard drive.
computer geek, and I could outdrive anybody on the planet.
Hard drive. Interesting.
So good.
Yeah.
This is never going to live.
Yeah.
You're
Hard
done.
drive.
You're
Hard
done.
drive. Over. I heard you. I did.
Never calling you by your name again.
I was thinking about that this morning. I've got my Levi's shirt on.
Can you run some radio traffic
Hey,
on this hard drive?
This is a hard drive. I'm looking for a radio check, please. Anybody see any Smokies up there? I got a hot load. I need to be in New Jersey by tomorrow. No, I left an office. I wore a suit and tie pretty much my 20s. I worked in the hospitality industry. We talked about real estate, and I was a trained accountant. And my mom came to me at 30 and said, "Yeah, this isn't working for you." I owned half a city block. I thought things were great in Mount Vernon, Illinois. I grew up in Opdyke, as we know. But long story short, I became a truck driver. And I remember when I went to the school in Granite City, this dude says, "You're going to be good at this." And I'm like, what? I couldn't even back the thing up. I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You got a great attitude. You're going to be fine." And I discovered real quick I was good at it. I mean, I just locked myself in the truck and away I went. And I'd haul this building if you could figure out how to get it on my trailer. I'm serious. I was good at it.
You truly were hard drive.
I was hard drive. Long story short, I met my wife. It was almost, I won't get into that. It was really there was a cool story there. Never in the same place twice, but 5 weekends in a row, I was in Ogden, Utah. And it was just something there. And I said, "Hey, run it with me to Portland, Oregon. And I'm probably coming back this way. And if not, and if you don't like hanging out with me, but anyway, that's how we spent one solid year this far apart.
Yeah.
A solid year, 24/7. The only time we were ever separated is when I was using a public restroom. That I don't know if anybody can replicate that, but you find out real quick if you're compatible.
You always have to be working on the relationship that's you and her outside of your kids.
And think about this, Chris.
It's important to do.
33 years at the end of this month. 33 years.
Yep.
We have worked together. We have carpooled together. Almost probably 90% of our time as married couple in 33 years. We've been together in some capacity working. I do not recommend that for everyone. I don't think most people. But if you got
it's
your
unhealthy.
best friend, when we're at home, we text each other.
Also, don't fall into the tropes that you should only get your spouse something nice on Valentine's Day. Right? Pick October 5th, which is nothing, and go get your wife or your spouse flowers, candy, take her out for dinner, do something.
Call her babe. She's your girl. Like you say, she's your girlfriend forever.
Yeah, that's my take. I always treat it's the idea that she's always my girlfriend.
Hey, by the way, spending this much time together, I got some buddies of mine that have said I get credit for more time than 33 years. And I feel like you know what? I was 34, almost 34 when I met her. I don't really even remember a time before Tammy. I'm blessed.
I was blessed that I was friends with my wife for 3 years before we ever started dating.
Mm-hmm. I think you were too, right, David?
I did not go in blind.
Yeah. It's really cool.
So, all right, we got to get out of here by the top of the hour because this is what we do at the Keep Your Day Job podcast.
Yeah. So are we moving on from working title to Keep Your Day?
I'm going to keep working both.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. So I always love driving you crazy with internet quizzes.
Beautiful.
Just whatever the trashiest piece of crap I can find.
Yeah.
I love it.
So here we go. This is the True Colors personality test.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right. Here we go. I agree or disagree. My feelings easily get hurt.
I disagree.
Okay.
What? Why would you bring up a topic? No. Are you serious? Are you kidding me right now, Chris?
My working space is neat, orderly, and systemized.
Oh, boy. There needs to be a third option.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I went too quick. Hold on.
There needs to be a third option.
Chris went crazy.
What does it need to be? Hard drive?
Hold on. Here we go.
Mobile?
Hold on.
It needs to be mobile,
All right,
and
sorry.
it's not. I'm going to date myself. The Odd Couple, Felix and Oscar.
Sure.
I'm not Felix, but I'm not Oscar either one. Felix
Feeling one way or the other.
Yeah. I'm closer to Felix than Oscar, but I'm not Felix. So,
All right, hard drive. I frequently sacrifice my needs and wants for the needs and wants of others.
I'd like to say I agree with that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to say I do.
In relationships, I tend to be extremely romantic.
Nah, I'm not really romantic.
Okay. The rules and structures of society are made to be respected and kept rather than challenged and overthrown.
What now? No, I think
The rules
you
and
know
structure.
the answer to that one.
I disagree.
Yeah. I want to make sure I was hearing that correctly.
I schedule my days rather than letting them run wild.
Again, that needs to be almost like a third option. I'm more scheduled than not, but as I get older, I'm not as scheduled. I better go with I'm scheduled, but I really need like a third option there.
There's no third option. This is a tough-ass personality test written by some 13-year-old.
I'm not that rigid, though. David, you want to help me with this one?
So does does Clint schedule his days rather than letting them run wild?
Well, he has the benefit of the company calendar, which keeps him pretty, like, when we come in here and there's meetings and stuff, he kind of knows what's going on.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to put agree.
But other than that, I mean, Clint will disappear.
Yeah.
He does what he wants. You can't help. We have a.
See,
I've had people tell, like, hey, can you go talk to Clint and see what he's doing? I'm like, you go do that yourself. Because he just kind of goes and does whatever he wants.
Needs to be a third option there. When I was younger,
like
without a doubt, rigid schedule.
Back to working space, neat, orderly, and systemized.
Yeah, same thing.
I'd say you're pretty organized, man.
Yeah.
I think you got to be.
That's that ADD or OCD or whatever.
You're in the baking business.
Yeah.
You better be organized.
Yeah, I'm pretty organized. I'm very organized.
I can think very deeply about important life topics.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to shut up, phone.
Yeah.
I
love that, by the way. I love to just deep dive on stuff.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
I call it hard thinking with hard drive.
Yeah,
That's our next podcast. I sometimes come across as being cold and distant.
I don't think so, but in my heart, I probably am. But I think I do a pretty good job.
I've never witnessed that.
Yeah, inside I might be a little.
Dave, you're his second wife. Have you ever seen? Wendy, have you seen? What's an instance that hard drive becomes cold and distant?
You know what he does, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch. It's he doesn't get violent. I'll cover that right now. He's actually he uses apathy really, really, really well. So what I mean is, like, if somebody has either crossed Clint or he feels that maybe there's just no reason for him to give respect in any way. I don't know what he's thinking internally, but what I'll see is he just cuts him off and he doesn't talk to him.
I actually used that analogy a while ago.
And it drives him crazy. And so, like, I've picked up on his rip there, and I started doing it as well to some people.
Yeah, I actually gave someone that advice a while ago.
Yeah, but so he does apathy. It's nothing more than he just doesn't talk to you anymore.
Here's the reality: no free rent, baby.
No, I do the apathy thing.
No free rent.
I'm constantly hungry for knowledge.
Oh, amen.
That's an I agree.
Come on,
right?
Come on.
Excitement and adventure is vital to me to live a full life.
Yeah, without a doubt. This is an easy one.
I know.
There should be.
I find it hard to make long-term commitments. I say that's a disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
You have 2 wives, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a polygamist. I got several wives.
I act first and think later.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I know a lot of guys in prison for that one.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the soap.
I used to act first and think later, but on the same token, especially as you're asking me this now, I usually think. I have a plan. And it drives me crazy because I will have thought of something for 3 weeks, how we're going to do this, and then last minute, my wife, my kid, my friends, or somebody, hey, we're going to do it this way. Yeah, no, we're not. So
however this thing works, you get a color. Mm-hmm. Your true color is gold.
Amen. I was shooting for platinum, but... Okay.
Self-sufficient, dutiful, committed, responsible, thorough, faithful, practical, systematic, helpful, efficient, and sensible.
That sounds like a hard drive to me.
Photocopy that. I need that on my profile.
You're not off the hook yet.
No,
this piece of crap online quiz has your weaknesses.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I've got... Oh, Lord.
Ooh, conflict.
Hey, come on. Get the couch out here. We're going to be here a
polygamous.
while.
No. Number 1 is bossiness.
Come on.
Uptightness.
Don't let Tammy hear that.
Judgmentalism.
Oh, no. Come on.
Predictability. Tendency to control. I don't agree with most of this.
Yeah, I don't
say all of it. Narrow-mindedness. That's not you.
No, come on.
Dullness. That's not you.
That shows you how valid this thing is.
Oh, it's valid, baby. No, just,
Certified.
your needs are to be useful, to bring stability to society. Well, we're all trying to do
Yeah.
that. Have structured
No, we're
environment.
not all trying to do that. Some of us are, but not everybody.
His cohort before him is inciting violence constantly. So,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, Mr. Jones.
Generation Jones. We learned hard drive and Generation Drones
Yeah.
today.
Wow, revealing.
This is hot.
revealing. You know, I am still keeping
And we
receipts
fixed
on
and we
all
fixed
this,
marriage.
guys.
Thank you.
You
Let
better
it cook.
come in with a quiz next time there.
Well, I was ready. I had one question. Actually, you know what? I keep thinking, I'm going to come up with one for Chris. So next week, I will be ready for you, my friend.
You didn't have one for today?
I had one. When did we start using
Receipts.
receipts
Gotcha.
as a topic?
Gotcha.
You know, that drives me crazy, by the way, the buzz thing.
Explain, Lucy.
Somebody says, you hear it, and then that becomes everybody's saying that for the next 6 months till the next buzz.
Have you
thing
heard
comes
no
along.
cap?
I don't know if I've heard that.
As we say at the spelling bee, please use in a sentence.
Yeah, no cap. I like it. I don't know what it means. What's
Yeah.
no cap mean, David?
Oh, I don't know. I hear people. So they'll say it in a sentence. I would hear them say, "Oh, I'm gonna go do that." No cap. Like I ain't playing.
No
Like it's not a
cap. Okay,
joke.
no cap. Cap is another word for a lie.
Oh, okay.
No.
So
lie,
no
okay.
cap emphasizes when someone's being truthful.
See, I
So-
wouldn't have interpreted it that way. I would have said there's no limit, there's no ceiling to this. I'm going to go do this with no ceiling. So I'm glad you clarified that. I would have used that nomenclature in an inappropriate manner.
The we some of me and my crew have been using said let it cook.
Let it cook.
Right, which basically is let the situation
Yeah,
keep
play it so.
developing
Okay.
and watch it. So you go, let it cook.
Okay, we
Let it
use
cook.
that.
Don't jump into that crap.
Yeah, we-
right. You just let it cook.
We use that.
Right.
We don't say it the same way, but yeah.
Let it. We say. Let's watch how it plays
Let's
out.
just let it play out.
Just let it play out.
Let's play out.
Yeah.
So before we go, first date, you and Hard Drive and Tammy, where'd you guys go?
We went up in the mountains.
Oh yeah,
Oh, shit.
yeah, baby.
To some restaurant. Had the best turkey enchilada I ever had in my life. Somewhere-
Turkey enchilada.
Yeah, it was really good. It was somewhere in Utah. Tammy
my
could
gosh,
tell you.
I'm so confused.
Up in the canyon.
No,
there
you're not. You
somewhere.
shouldn't be confused. It's freaking Utah. That's turkey.
Yeah.
That's
Turkey
perfect.
I went
Yeah.
up in the mountains and had a fabulous turkey enchilada.
Well, it's long. That's what we did.
That's so cool.
So Hard Drive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
David-
then we went to This Is the Place in Salt Lake. Because my wife's from Ogden.
Okay. Dave, what about you and your missus? Where was your first date?
Our first date, it was. This is a tough one. We had a lot of really good first dates.
Yeah.
I like the way he
Like
thinks.
I told you, any place, any furniture.
No,
Let it cook.
we've had a lot of cool stuff. No, one thing I want to talk about with my wife was, we talked about the wedding stuff, and instead of doing like this big drawn out wedding plan thing, we did really, really cheap, real small little event, and we spent money on just hanging out with each other. We went to Hawaii together and just dipped out for like a week and a half.
Hey, I guarantee you ours were smaller than yours.
You think so? Mine was in the backyard.
100%.
Really?
1,000%. I'd bet any amount.
Because I had some friends that they spent like $30K on their
Yeah,
wedding,
no.
and then homegirl was
No.
with another dude a couple months later,
No.
and I'm like, oh.
So we had
What'd you do?
We had
What'd
about
you do?
130, 140.
What was your first date, though? Let's go
Oh, our first
date.
date was up in Phoenix, and we went to Carlos O'Brien's on 12th and Northern. It's a
12th and
white boy
Northern.
Mexican restaurant, and they made this thing called Pollo Fundido, where they would take a chicken. They were known for this chicken.
12th Street.
12th Street.
Okay.
No, 12th Ave.
12 Ave?
12th Ave.
Okay.
And they would take a giant chicken chimichanga,
Okay, I know
cut
about
it in
where you're at.
thirds,
Nice.
then cover it with a a jalapeno cream cheese sauce, and then more cheese and stick it under the broiler.
That's kind of the white boy turkey enchilada thing I had up in Utah.
It's definitely in the white boy region.
Okay, and then you had 190.
140.
140.
We got married at the cathedral downtown Tucson, St.
Nice.
Augustine. And then out on the east side, there's a place called the Club at La Mariposa, which is a wedding event center. And it was great because we had all the friends in from New York and family. She's from New England, so it was like a New England, New York wedding in the middle of the desert in December.
And how many did you have, David?
What's that?
How many people at your wedding?
Oh man.
I know I was at your after party there.
That was the wedding.
No, you got married before that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people was...
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, maybe 30,
Okay.
40, yeah.
I'm counting the bride and groom.
Yeah.
8 people.
Really?
Love it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We had just moved to Phoenix. We didn't know anybody. My parents came in. Her mom came in. My niece came. And the gentleman that we looked up in the phone book, his wife was there as the witness. And we spent about $30 and went and checked into a hotel room. And I watched the World Series and... She went to sleep early.
That hard drive, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a lover.
I got to
some
go back
Big
to the
Macs.
first date thing real quick. Wife and I went to one of her favorite places. I'm not going to say their name because they really messed up that day. But I got rice, and I kid you not, my rice had ice in it.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
Served from a hot
David,
area.
where did you propose to your wife?
I proposed to my wife in our front yard at my house. At our house.
I don't remember.
I just
So
walked out in the morning and just dropped to a knee and asked her to
Clint,
marry
I know
me.
where Clint hard drive.
Yeah.
So he was in St. George, Utah, at a place that makes authentic Mexican cauliflower salsa. Right?
That's probably that's maybe accurate. You might be on something there.
What
Chris.
about you, Chris? Were you like on top of a mountaintop during the fall foliage?
Oh, no. It was Desert Sky Pavilion, 5th row at a Yes concert.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Desert Sky. It's not called that anymore, but yes.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah, so one of my favorite groups, and hers too, is Yes, right? And we had a Yes show.
All right.
And there was a song off the album at that time. This is 1994, summer of 94, and it's called I Am Waiting.
Uh-huh.
Right? And it was just like the perfect kind of song. We both loved it. And I knew it was going to be on the set list, but it was like the second song. So all of a sudden I'm like, boom, on my knees, blah, blah, blah. And what was really funny, so I interviewed John Anderson, the singer of Yes, years later on Wake Up Tucson, and I as I was introducing him, he said, "I remember that show. There was a huge thunderstorm, right?" And I go, "It's true.
Yeah.
We got hit by a huge thunderstorm monsoon thing, and they had hanging amps and speakers.
Yeah.
And they actually had the roadies jump on it to weigh it down.
Is that right?
Because the wind
Yeah.
was like off the charts.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I spent a lot of
So-
time in.
Yes
you
show,
know,
5th row.
I'm thinking I probably did my proposal at doing about 80.
I love it.
That's what hard drive does.
That's exactly what a hard drive
Yeah.
does.
Man, that's
That's the truth.
All right, now I know we got to go.
no, you're
but-
good.
And it took about 6 tries, by the way.
Excuse me.
So one thing I never asked hard drive, what's the top 3 or 5 truck driving movies?
I don't know. I've never. Yeah.
Come on, man.
But
Hard
Smoking the
Drive, what a
Bandit-
disappointment.
Smoking the Bandit 1, 2, and 3. I don't know. I'm not a.
Not about Maximum
I was
Overdrive,
thinking
dude.
Maximum
Yeah.
Overdrive.
No, you know what? I was not a truck driver. I gave you a bad. I was a freight relocation specialist.
Oh my God.
I didn't hang out in truck stops. That's a
Well, that's
waste
good.
of
That's
time.
good. That's where George Michael was.
Yeah, I never hung out in
Jesus.
truck stops. CB radios got me ready for the world we live in now. 35 years
So
ago.
hard drive, if you weren't going to truck
I
stops,
fueled and showered there and got going, and then I slept in. I don't remember where I'd sleep. I'd sleep wherever I could find a place to park, but not truck stops. No. There's a bunch of truck drivers there. Honestly, I didn't hang out with the people I worked with.
Got it.
They couldn't keep up with me, to be honest.
you know,
about it.
I don't care what we talked about or learned today. The idea that we now know to call you hard drive the rest of your freaking life is
honestly,
the best.
I did that for about 5 years. I did about 800,000 miles across the United States. It was one of the best experiences I ever had.
Sure.
It taught me how to work like a real man for real. You know where my first delivery was?
Ogden, Utah,
No.
at the Cauliflower Salsa Factory.
No, way better than that.
Oh.
They put me with a driver. We did the West Coast run as a team. He slept most of the time I drove. My first delivery was Hunts Point, New York City, 4 o'clock Monday morning.
Wow. What were you delivering? Remember?
I don't remember. Somewhere there around Hunts Point, and that
Hard
was
drives
crazy.
in the Big Apple.
That was crazy. I'd never been to New York City in my life,
Yep.
and that was
That's an eye opener.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Now I was
rural Illinois to New York City.
Hunts Point. Have you been to Hunts Point?
It's not nice.
That is not a nice place at all. And then a lot of time around Port Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Yes.
Not a nice place at all. There's a story behind that. I'll save it for another day.
So next week on Working Title Podcast,
keep your day job.
Hard Drive is going to tell us all his deepest, darkest stories, dirtiest stories of the road.
Oh man,
it's going to be hot.
You should call your radio show that you're going to have pretty soon.
Hard Drive.
Call it Hard Drive.
Well, it's going to be a drive time. Hey guys,
Hard Drive and the Bear.
Yeah, there you go.
All the truckers will listen.
You know what? No one even. Have you ever been around a truck stop?
Sure.
I don't want to be one of those guys.
So now,
no offense, because they move America, but I was.
We got to start playing that classic song "Convoy" every time you get introduced on a podcast.
Eastbound and Down, Motor Deck and Trucking.
So Eastbound and Down, we've had like on Wake Up Tucson like top 10 best bump songs.
Yeah.
And Eastbound and Down has been considered. Yeah. It's rated the #1 bump song in Wake Up Tucson history.
Ask me what my favorite road album is. Ask me what my favorite road album is.
Hey, Hard Drive. Let's figure out what's your favorite road song.
This is an easy one. Jackson Browne, Running on Empty.
Oh man,
I thought you were going to say like Hotel California.
That was a good one. I played a lot of Eagles during that time.
Yep.
But
Eagles.
Running on Empty. Real quick backstory. Probably came out at about 1977. Was actually recorded on the road. There's a song called I can't think of it. It's on this. It's the B side, if you will. It's the second side. You can actually hear the bus they're riding on changing gears.
Wow!
It was literally that. It was recorded in hotel rooms, live events, and on the bus.
We had a good story with this. Like, you know, I was at a truck stop in Canton, Ohio, and this guy named his CB name was Nitro Monkey, and him and I got into a knife fight.
Running on Empty, the album.
Hard Drive versus Nitro Monkey in a knife fight. That's what I want.
Here's this Running on Empty, The Road, Rosie, You Love the Thunder, Cocaine, Shaky Town. Great song about driving into L.A. One of my favorite all times.
Love
it. The Loadout, Stay. You remember those songs?
No.
Nothing But Time. It's Nothing But Time, and it's recorded on the bus. And at various points throughout the song, you can actually hear the bus changing gears.
Well, my friend, Hard Drive.
Yes,
it's time to say goodbye.
See, so golden, huh?
Golden Hard Drive.
Stay gold, pony boy. Stay golden.
Hey, David, thank you, buddy, for making it all happen in there. Hey, some exciting stuff coming your way, guys. Radio LTD is coming.
I do want a shameless plug before we go.
Yes.
Remember, on August 17th, we're hosting a big fundraiser for Southern Arizona Honor Flight. And we want as many people to show up because we want to raise as much money to send these veterans to D.C. So it's August 17th. It's a Saturday night. It's a week from this Saturday. It's at the Westward Look Resort, 5 p.m. start. Great prizes. You got to RSVP at wakeuptucson@gmail.com.
And let me get in here real quick. Wake Up Tucson, 6 to 9 a.m. KVOI.
It's true.
10:30 on your AM dial.
We did a great interview with basically rock legend, engineer, producer, and artist Alan Parsons today in the third hour, so you can listen to it at kvoi.com.
Beautiful. Thanks, David. Thanks, listeners.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Hard Drive. Hard Drive.
Hard Drive coming at you.